Today on the candy aisle, who wants some pudding? It's Jell-O milk chocolate pudding cups. That's right, folks. Jell-O has finally put their iconic chocolate pudding into a chocolate cup thing. What a product, what a product. Oh boy. So Morris National makes this for, of course, Kraft owns the Jell-O license. But this is a product that's been around since 2022. Holy moly, get some focus here, people. Milk chocolate pudding cups. So it's pudding inside a cup, like you would have like a Reese's cup or something. I am expecting big things, hoping for big things. We'll see. We recently-ish, I don't know, I had the Jell-O, what are they called? The Super Mix, the jelly beans. And I do know that Jell-O also has these like fruit squares. I think they're sour. I'll try and get my hands on those. I think I know where to get those. But this is the other one that they have, and of course, I think that from the nostalgia factor, like this, like yeah, okay, jelly beans kind of make a lot of sense, sure, but like Jell-O pudding cups, Jell-O pudding pops, Jell-O pudding, like that's one of the biggest Jell-O products, right? Of course, it's not as big as the gelatin Jell-O like that they've had, but Jell-O pudding has been a mainstay since certainly the 80s, right? Before, maybe? I don't know. 80s, 90s, definitely. And we won't talk about their spokesperson. No need to talk about that. Choking hazard. Don't give this to kids under 4. This is, I bought this up in Canada, so it's got the French on the packaging, nutrition, and ingredients. And let's just get into this. This also comes in big bags, and I think they're individually wrapped. I don't know if they're individually wrapped in here. This is definitely new to me. Oh my God. Oh, so difficult to get that open. Okay, yeah, it's a plastic container. Oh, okay, so they're not individually wrapped, but they are pretty separated. Look at these ones. They got their little dollop on the top. That one's worms crawled into the middle of that one probably. Okay, Jell-O pudding cups. So this is it. How thick is the wall? Oh, that's nice. That's a nice little stamp. It's like a bottle cap or something, eh? Or maybe it's like a pudding cup. I think the pudding cups in the cups don't have these, don't have the ridges on them, but this, of course, it doesn't look like a cup. It looks like a Jell-O mold, right? Like a classic traditional Jell-O mold. That's so adorable with Jell-O printed on it. That's really great. Like if you put it that way, right? That's nice. I like that. Okay, looks to me, based on the picture, that the walls of this, because that's kind of a big part of it, is the mix. Like how much chocolate on the outside in relation to the chocolate on the inside. That's a big difference. The big thing that you got to notice when you're looking at like your Reese's or whatever. But in this case, it's pudding. How liquid is the pudding? How close is it to actual Jell-O pudding? Will I be able to tell, hey, this is pudding, not just some chocolate ganache? And does it evoke that nostalgic quality? Certainly the branding, the packaging, how I feel about Jell-O having grown up in the 80s and 90s, even though I didn't have it that often, like certainly I was a participant in the sort of pop culture landscape of Jell-O's presence, omnipresence, if you will, all over the place. Let's give this a shot. Smells pretty good. Okay. Oh. Interesting. Wow. Look at that, guys. Legit. That is pudding. Huh. You can see it here. It is pretty thick. The top just kind of collapsed in. Not that it was thin. In fact, that dollop, I think, is extra outer chocolate rather than just like a bubble of more pudding. But that's real pudding in there. Is it? Oh man, it's not actually that much. Is it? just like real pudding? I don't think so. I think it's a little, like a smidge thicker, which 100% would make sense. It's like Cadbury or Russell Stover. They both make eggs for Easter that are like the chocolate eggs. And is it Russell Stover's is a little more liquidy than the Cadbury one? It's good, but you don't want full liquid chocolate. Like, I get it. I get why you'd want it. Like, in theory, that's kind of where this is. This is like a liquid chocolate, right? But it's got a viscosity, probably a little closer to, closer to, not at, to a caramel. So, let me see here. Right? Look at that. Like, if this was real pudding, it would actually drip out. And I don't think that will. So, it's still pretty fluid, but not quite pudding consistency. In the classic, Dairy Queen motif, I could turn this upside down and I don't think it would drip out. So I touched the thing there. That's why I tripped. Not because it actually dripped. We'll clean that up later. Don't worry. That said, do I get the sense of pudding? Do I get the impression of pudding? Am I whisked away to my youth where I'm, fondly reminiscing of pudding-filled slow Sunday afternoons playing, in the backyard, or I don't know, whatever Rockwellian, memory you want to conjure up here. That's part of what Jell-O pudding is supposed to do. At least if you're branding it right. I would say yes. I would say yes with an asterisk. One, I'm not, as I said, like, aware, but I didn't grow up with like Jell-O pudding cups in my house. I had them, sure. Everyone had them, but like, it wasn't like a day to day. I wasn't like allowed to bring them to school like some kids in their lunches. No. So yeah, I mean, if I had Jell-O pudding, it would have been not the prepackaged ones. It would have been made at home from the powder. That would have been it. And, powder and milk or whatever, however you make pudding. I can't remember. So I don't have that. I don't have as strong a nostalgia as I'm sure some people would for Jell-O. And yeah, that's okay. This is pretty good. It's a little overly sweet. I think that the chocolate on the outside is definitely decent, but the star of the show should be the Jell-O pudding in the middle, and it's not quite Jell-O pudding as I remember it. Like, it's not bad. It is a little oversweet. Yeah, the whole thing is oversweet. It's not quite Jell-O pudding as I remember it. The consistency is a little too thick, but it's still probably more liquidy than most caramels. I mean, it's a hemming and hawing. It's like a here or there. Like, this is pretty decent, but I don't know that it really brings Jell-O pudding to life. I think what would be interesting, maybe, is if you did like, and I know practically, like from a production standpoint, it might not make sense. If you did maybe you sold this in a 2-pack instead of 4, bite size, and you made it a big cup. Although, would that be too much pudding? It might be too big, because this really is sweet. Like, there's no way I can eat more of these right now. That's just too much sugar. That's definitely a little on the overly sweet side for me. These are, like, I want it to be bigger, but then I think that would also be problematic. Like, you would see, like, do I eat it with a spoon? In fact, that might be a cool thing. Chocolate, like a chocolate bowl, like you get a bread bowl. And then maybe the top is like crack, 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 eat it with a spoon, like whatever those Cadbury egg things were with the fondant and they came with spoons. Maybe something like that. Um, that would be fun. But again, I think if you had more of it, it would be even more notable, like noticeable to the eater that the inside is not really Jell-O pudding. I'm sure it's like maybe based on, inspired by Jell-O pudding, but it's not quite there. So for my money, this doesn't quite do what I guess I was hoping. I think it's not bad, but I definitely think it's too sweet. And does Jell-O, I mean, I don't know really what the sort of current like market presence of Jell-O is, or Jell-O pudding. I know it's still obviously in the pre-packed Jell-O pudding. I mean, obviously the dry Jell-O pudding, make it home, is still there, but the pre-packed Jell-O pudding is still in all the dairy aisles, like, or along the, the cold food aisle. So are people buying it for their kids? Like, do kids have an affinity for Jell-O? That's what I'm trying to get at right now. A kid would like this maybe, but it's very sweet. I think it's a little too sweet for adults. Like, this is like kid level sweet. So if you're trying to run the nostalgia factor of a Jell-O pudding pop or Jell-O pudding cup, I don't think this does it. There's something in there, like an opportunity around pudding pops, though, I bet, that could hit a nostalgia thing with older folks like me, the consummate zennial. So I don't know. I am not in the Kraft Foods marketing department, although I probably should be. Anyway, for my money, that's what I think. This is kind of like middling. It's got decent points to it, but the grays just don't outweigh the reality of it. So, walking the candy aisle is going to rate the Jell-O milk chocolate pudding cups a 3 out of 5. Kind of a mid to low 3, probably. Just doesn't quite hit it. Like I said, it's not inedible or anything, certainly, but meh. This is one you can probably pass on. Sad but true. Anyway, hopefully we'll be back with more Jell-O on the channel at some point in the not too distant future. Like I said, I do think I know where to pick up those Jell-O gummy squares. Just gotta get back to that store. All right. We'll see you next time. So long, everyone. Bye-bye.